Coast Avengers. West Coast Avengers.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another SunDAVE Sit Down. You're sitting with Dave. It's SunDAVE. You're sitting with Dave. It's SunDAVE. Just until I get one. There's your theme song for tonight. Just went through a slight technological existential crisis. We'll have to fix that when I switch to the other camera. Apparently, my camera was thinking that it's a lot closer than it actually is. Anywho, welcome in. It's SunDAVE Sit Down. There were 2 people in the room, and now there's 0. So I'm just talking to myself. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I just got back from seeing Avatar 2, The Way of Water, and holy shit. That was an amazing, incredible experience. But we'll talk about that a little later. We will. I promise we will. It was a fun week. I got back from Portland on Wednesday. I got back from Portland on Thursday. I went to go see Tom York and Johnny Greenwood's new band, The Smile. And if you don't know who Tom York and Johnny Greenwood is, you should just check out Radiohead because you might have heard of them. How's everybody doing? How was everybody's weekend? I feel like I just saw everybody because I did my claim sale on Friday. And that was a lot of fun. We're gonna do a flip through of the IDW Marvel Covers Artists Edition tonight, and this is more modern stuff. So I'm just gonna fix the camera because, like I said, I had a technological crisis. Oh, now it's back to being a pain in my ass. What's up? What's up, Warlock? What's up, Lore Rider? Warlock. Let's see. I actually think it's fine now. I'm just gonna give me 1 sec. Let's fix it. There we go. That should show us everything we need to see tonight for the read through. Man. Yeah. So a couple of we'll come back to this. Don't worry about that. We'll get to that in a minute. So if you do live in the Northwest or you plan on being in the Northwest anytime in the next, I want to say it's till April 23rd or so, the Oregon Science Museum of Industry, I think that's what, OMSI, Oregon Museum of Science and Industry, OMSI, in Portland, is having this incredible Marvel Comics exhibit. And it's just, I wouldn't call it the art of Marvel Comics. I wouldn't call it the history of Marvel Comics. I would call it a little bit of both mixed in with the MCU. And basically it's this insane 2-floor exhibit of original art, original props from the MCU films, covers that there might even be some of the covers that are in here are at that exhibit. But God, I saw, and I'm going to do an episode on this coming up soon, but I got to see such covers as like Wolverine #1, the Frank Miller, Chris Claremont, Silver Surfer #1, a page from Marvel Comics #1, a page from Tales to Astonish #1, the cover for Amazing Spider-Man 252. I mean, there had to be, I don't know, $100 million in original art there. They had the cover for Marvel Spotlight 5 at the exhibit. It was wild. It was amazing. So if you are going to be in the Portland area or you're planning on taking a trip, please do see that. It was $30 for the exhibit. Well worth it. I mean, I could have spent 2 or 3 hours there. I spent an hour there by myself, only because I had a buddy with me. So I didn't want to have him sit around for an hour. Anyway, so that was fun. And some of you might have noticed, but since there's only one of you in here, I doubt I'm really preaching to anybody that noticed, with the exception of the one of you. I did not release a video this morning because I'm going to release my new episode of West Coast Avengers tomorrow morning. I'm trying to space out my content. I do a lot on Sunday. I don't know if it's necessary, but we'll find out. We'll find out. Oh, let's see. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, my Lord. There we go. Anyway, busy night here at the West Coast Avengers. Other than that, like I said, I just saw Avatar. It was incredible. Talk more about that in a little bit, but I guess we'll start digging through this. I just picked this up in Portland at a store called I Like Comics. And if you, sorry, that's in Vancouver, Washington, just over the river, the Columbia River, that is, that separates the two states, Oregon and Washington. But once again, if you're going to be in the Portland area, go visit I Like Comics. This store, I mean, it's if there's a big book that you're looking for, they've got it. I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw two copies of Amazing Fantasy 15 in there and an ASM 1, and I saw a stack of Hulk 181s. I mean, that guy buys collections that I can only dream of getting. So if you're in Vancouver, Washington, or in Portland, go visit I Like Comics and go visit the OMCI, OMSI, the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry. Jeez. Anyway, I picked this up and I Like Comics. I knew of its existence, and it is a Todd cover, and it's got original covers from Marvel. It's the IDW Marvel Modern Era Artist Edition. And because I'm speaking freely, maybe somebody will see this and enjoy this and buy this themselves. But I've never opened this. I opened it, literally took the cellophane off today. So let's take a look. Obviously, the cover speaks to me, being that it is the cover for Marvel Age. Was that 90 or 91? The See Todd by Todd McFarlane cover, and it had a preview of his Spider-Man run in there. This first inside page, honestly, I think this might be John Cassidy, but I'm not sure. There's some stuff in here that I probably don't know because I'm not familiar with some of the more modern books. And, modern, this is the modern era as in like 1990 on. But we're going to find out who did that inside spread. Well, actually, probably won't find out until we hit it. But there's some Chris Bachalo in here. So let's see the names that are in here. You've got Art Adams, Chris Bachalo, Lee Bermejo. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's no, it's not Bermejo. Nick Bradshaw. I'm not familiar with Bradshaw's name, but I'm familiar with his art. As I think I'm familiar with his art. Jay Scott's in here. John Cassidy. Okay, so yeah, that looks like a John Cassidy piece to me. Cassidy, who I first came into knowing Cassidy when he did Astonishing X-Men when Joss Whedon was writing it. And I really love that run. Travis Charest, Alan Davis, David Finch, Michael Golden, Dale Keown, Sam Keith, Adam Kubert, Jay Lee, Jim Lee, Liefeld, McFarlane, Steve McNiven. Oh, yes. I love Steve McNiven. Bummer that there's only one book in here, one cover of his. Mignola, Carlos Pacheco, who just passed, and I know a lot of people were big fans of him. I'm not super familiar with his work, but I know some of it because Avengers Forever is something that I had. Stephen Platt, Wills Portacio, Joe Quesada, Frank Quietly, John Romita Jr. and Sr., which is funny because when you think of modern Marvel, you don't think of Johnny Sr. Silvestri, Simonson, Paul Smith. Unfortunately, no, there's no Texiera in here. I'd love to see an artist edition of his work. I've loved him since I was a kid because he was doing Wolverine and Ghost Rider when I first started kind of buying those monthly. In addition to covers, we have opted to include a selection of pinups and splash pages as well. Cool. Right inside that little corner, that looks like a Wills Portacio Iceman to me. So let's see what we start with. We start with Art Adams. So this is part of an ongoing series, one dedicated to showcasing outstanding artists in a format as special as their work deserves. Right off the bat, we get the Art Adams Fantastic Four, 348 with the new Fantastic Four. And if you didn't read this, it's great. I agree with you. Brother. Tex is great. Tex is underrated. His work can be found so many different places. His early art actually is featured in some of those mini comics that came with the He-Man Masters of the Universe figures, and He's done, Vampirella. He's done a lot of different properties. So, yeah, if you're in this and you're watching, and you're not familiar with Mark Texiera, check him out. So this is part of the new Fantastic Four run, which the 3 issues had Ghost Rider, Hulk, Grey Hulk, Spidey, and Wolvie as the new Fantastic Four, and it's a great run. Actually, had one available at Friday. Nobody took it. It's cool. I don't know if that's yeah, that must be some shading that's done, but this is from 1990. Uh, okay, so there's a note on here in blue line pencil that says "Zip light to center dark towards Hulk's leg." So I'm assuming that's what refers to something over there in that area. All right, some more Art Adams. We've got Guardians of the Galaxy #9, cover featuring Drax, and I guess that's Gamora upside down. And I'm not sure what this guy is, but I love Art Adams. If you're not familiar with Arthur Adams, I can't imagine you read comics and you're not familiar with Arthur Adams because he's had such a long career. At this point, he's been going 40 plus years, and he was doing classic X-Men covers in the 80s, in the Fantastic Four run in the 90s, mixed with a bunch of other stuff. And now he does like these great, I mean, he's been doing it for a while, but the variant covers that are very titty heavy. White Queen one comes to mind, the Magic one comes to mind, that they're sought after. And it's funny because I never really associated Art Adams with the kind of pinup style, but he went that way and it works. He draws great women. He draws great female figure. He draws great characters. This is a Inhumans cover from 2015. I am absolutely not familiar with, but God, that's another great one that he does with Medusa's hair. Now I'm going to show something off that I picked up very recently. It kind of goes in line with this. Every once in a while, I get some sketches in a collection or something, but I found this at this local store that I help out, and this is from 1997. And all I can imagine, that's Art Adams doing a self-portrait of Art Adams. And that looks just like him. Kind of makes him look like a Simpsons character too. But I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see if there's more Art Adams here, and I can keep this kind of. So here's a Guardians of the Galaxy cover from 2014, and he draws a great Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. And Rocket looks ferocious when he draws him. He very like the dead eyes and the fangs. Art Adams does not really do bad characters ever. And here's another one. This is Years of Future Past, a series I'm not familiar with from 2015, but obviously an X-Men series. And look how this, I guess they call that cross-hatching on the clouds or smoke behind the Sentinel. And he just draws a menacing Sentinel, very much kind of like almost the same pose as Wolverine. And, one of the most famous Wolverine poses, pieces of artwork comes from Arthur Adams. It's the one where he's standing with his claws kind of lunged forward and he's hunched over. And so Wolverine and Art Adams are kind of synonymous. And who else you got on this cover? The Colossus is cool. Shadowcat, old style Shadowcat. But this is a fun one. I'll have to track this down. I really like this cover. And then we move on to somebody that I think is extremely underrated. And I think he's come into his own a little bit, become more of a name among collectors in the last couple of years, is Chris Bachalo or Bacalo. I think it's Bachalo. The first time I ever saw Chris Bachalo's work was Death, the miniseries Death from the Sandman universe. It's why can't I remember the name? There's two, and I can't remember which one it is. It's Time of Your Life and High Cost of Living. I think it was Time of Your Life. But he did a bunch of Spider-Man books. Some of the Shed storyline was all his covers, and it's really wild. It's chaotic. And here's a perfect example of some chaotic Spider-Man. This is ASM 555. And there's just a lot going on. You got Wolverine in there right here, which if you didn't notice him, like, it's tough because then you see the claws and then you see the severed parts of, I don't know if these are people or robots. But great cover, and seek out some of Bachala's work if you're not familiar with it. And here's another one. This is Gen X #1 from what year is this? Because this is not the first series, even though he did a lot of work in that series. Or maybe it's -1. I don't know. But this is a Gen X cover that I do not recognize. And it is Bachalo and whoever Vey is that is inking, where Townsend inked that one. So two completely different feelings that I get from looking at both of these covers because they're different inkers on Bachalo's pencils. But he's somebody that I would love to earn. I would love to earn a piece of his original art, own, which I don't know if it's expensive for him. I think that not the next show, but the following show, I'm going to have a bunch of original art to show off that I'm getting. Here's another Bachalo with Townsend doing Uncanny X-Men #356. So Bachalo did a bunch of Uncanny X-Men as well. He's worked on Marvel's, some of Marvel's biggest books. And man, just odd shapes and lots going on, lots of chaos going on his artwork. Now, this is Chris Burnham. Who is this? Let's see who this is. Okay, so this is Lee Bermejo. So that makes sense. Now I kind of recognize if Bermejo, the only thing I'm really familiar with on Bermejo is his Joker book that he did with Brian Azzarello, which, definitely lends itself more to the Heath Ledger Joker type mood. But this is a Lee Bermejo Captain America cover. Let me see. I can keep flipping back and forth. It's not that hard. Okay, maybe it is that hard. All right. Well, we're going to find out where that Lee Bermejo Captain America is. That is Captain America 16 variant. So I guess maybe that's Winter Soldier run. Anyway. Here's another Lee Bermejo from a Daredevil cover. Beautiful. I mean, his photorealistic painting, or I'm not sure what he's doing here. I don't think that's paint because there's no color, but it definitely looks like watercolor or something. Guys, I'm not an artist. Anyway, not familiar with both of these covers, but love them. The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson. And he does nail Spider-Man. I do appreciate, Spider-Man's always got that. Yeah, there you go. I was just going to say, Spider-Man's always got that kind of like, the tight fit, right, on the outfit. But the way that Bermejo illustrates Spider-Man and Daredevil, it's more realistic. Like, skin tight, you're flying through the air. It's not going to work. So you see some of the folds in the clothing just kind of depicting like, yeah, they're flying through the air. There's wind on them. They're in the air. They're superheroes. Anyway. So that's two more Lee Bermejo pages. What do we got here? Oh, here's another. So it was Daredevil 8, 88, 89, and 90. This is an interesting one. Looks like he's in Italy because he's in Monaco because that's where the license plate's from. I don't know what run this is from. I don't know who's writing this because I don't know if this is Bendis, but I guess Daredevil went around the world. He's in Monaco. He's in Paris. This is a beautiful one. Just kind of gets nails like the rooftops of what I've seen in photos in Paris, and the cowl you could see is two completely different shades, than the suit. Yeah, Bermejo, I've never seen his black and white art before. It's interesting. I've only seen his color stuff. All right, here we go with Nick. Who's this? Nick Bradshaw. So this is somebody that I am completely unfamiliar with, but at first glance is very much like an Art Adams style. I mean, if we flip really quick back to Art Adams, you see his style, especially with the X-Men. And then you go here, and it's just a bolder line. There's a lot going on in these too. they really did, and this is just kind of, I'm only what, 10, 15 pages in here, but they picked some interesting chaotic stuff to display in this book so far, between Bachalo, Art Adams, and Nick Bradshaw, who I'm, like I said, not familiar with. Sound off if you know who he is, or like, something you could point out that's like a really good taste test of his work. But Storm with the Mohawk, it's all different versions of Storm. Storm with the Black Panther, and then you've got kind of Queen Aurora, and then that's the What If, I think, where she becomes Thor. So these are Gwendolyn Strange and Storm, which is a Midtown Comics exclusive. Pretty cool. Some more of Nick Bradshaw. Spider-Gwen, Norman Osborn. He does Rain really nice here. He's a fantastic artist, actually. His black and white, his pencils, his inks, like all this stuff is really nice. Wolverine, the X-Men, very chaotic. But I like chaos. I like chaos in my music. I like chaos in my movies. I like chaos in my art. What character is this? I feel like this is that character that showed up in Spider-Man. Anyway, it's pretty cool. And then I think we're getting to some J. Scott here. There we go. Funny. I have never been the biggest J. Scott Campbell fan. I wouldn't even call myself a J. Scott Campbell fan. But the more I look at his work, and the more that I see the comics and I sell the comics and I get the comics that he worked on and covers and stuff, the more I really enjoy it. He's become his own, I don't know if you can use the term cottage industry, but he's his own thing. Like, there are people that try to draw like him and they are not him. And there's really only one J. Scott. I mean, he came into his own very quickly after starting, in the Wildstorm Jim Lee, bubble. And this is a cover, I'm assuming. Oh, it's a connecting cover from Amazing Spider-Man 700 and Superior Spider-Man 1. These must be variants because I've seen the covers for both of those regular books, but I've never seen these J. Scotts. And yeah, like, he really is his own thing, and I like it. I really do. You can look at this and you're like, oh, that's J. Scott Campbell. This is a great cover. Avenging Spider-Man #1 variant with Cap and Spidey. A little bit different from him. The face, his human faces, so like his Spider-Man face, obviously with the mask, is always going to look like that. But he does vary up his human faces a little bit between male and female, and that's about it. So Cap's face and Black Bolt's face is the same face, but you add, all right, his lockjaw is kind of weak. His lockjaw looks like an old man. But this is Captain America. Oh no, this Savage Wolverine variant. I don't understand that. I think they got their contents wrong, because how could that be? Whatever. Oh, there's your Savage Wolverine. Yeah, I don't know. Is anybody in here a J. Scott fan? There's only 2 of you in here, so not meaning to put anybody on the spot, but I got nothing else. Savage Wolverine #1, pretty cool. I don't know. Some of the stuff I like, some of the stuff I don't by J. Scott, but I will give it, like, he is, you can recognize his style. Like his Peter is not the same as his Wolverine, but if you look at Peter's face and you look at Black Bolt's face, it's the same face. Fair enough. No strong feelings. Yeah, I used to have stronger feelings, and now I kind of the same way. Like, I like it, I don't. I like it, I don't. But I wouldn't say it's strong. You could probably convince me to enjoy his artwork. The female figure he does is, perfect for what it is. It is perfect for what it is. Not all women look like that. Most women don't, but it's a comic book. I'm old enough to recognize, the difference. I'm not a young, impressionable kid. I'm not even young. I'm just a kid mentally. But his Black Cat's fantastic. Spider-Gwen's okay. I like that cover. I like the chaotic nature of it. It's a Spider-Gwen 1, and then this is Renew Your Vows 1 variant. The man is the master of the variant. Sam, add some curves to this. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, his covers, the only J. Scott draws women, the guys screw. Yeah, exactly. What's up, Mattis? West Coast K Vengers, Campbell Vengers, West Coast. Oh, West Coast Avengers. Yeah, he doesn't really care about like Spider-Man and women. That's what he likes to draw, and it makes sense because that's what makes him his money. I mean, he created Gen 13 that got him where he is today, and the man is the master of the variant. Okay, so here we go. This is a cool cover. So this is a wraparound cover for Marvelous Reloaded, and you know this is great. I think this is fantastic because he really tried to put detail into the faces. Okay, Psylocke and Storm are the same, right? Okay, that's fine. But everybody else kind of looks different. And everything else has some good detail on it. The rocket hiding down here is pretty cool. By the way, if you're just joining everybody, we are looking at the IDW Artist Edition of the Marvel covers from the modern era. So we're on K. We're on C for J. Scott Campbell. So this is a cool cover. I'd actually like to track this down and see what this looks like in color, because I do like the black and white here. His Wolverine's good. I like his Wolverine. I don't know if anybody knows out there. Exactly. I don't know if anybody knows out there because I'm not as versed in Campbell. He doesn't do a lot of interiors, but has he ever done a Wolverine book? Like, has he ever done interiors on a Wolverine book? He's not an interiors guy anymore, but be interested to know. And then what do we got here? This is Extraordinary X-Men #1 variant and Uncanny X-Men #1 variant. So I guess it's a connecting cover. This Storm's a lot better. But yeah, this suffers from like same face, same face, same face. And then Wolverine, Oh Man Logan, and Creator, the ones with the different faces. So, but, and then that is going to be X-Men 92 variant. That's a dope. That is a dope Psylocke cover. But you know what? All's well and good. Let's move on to John Cassidy. John Cassidy, or I don't know if the emphasis is on the A, so it could be John Cassidy, but I doubt it because that doesn't sound right. John Cassidy, best coloring book ever. There, yeah. Let's get the markers and. Adam Kubert did a great. Yes, the Kubert, both of them, the Kubert brothers, do love their Wolverine stuff, and I agree. I mean, if we went through Wolverine, one of those guys, just like Spider-Man, just like Batman, everybody wants to take a shot at drawing it, and there's so many great artists that have nailed it on Wolverine. But this John Cassidy cover from this is Astonishing X-Men #3. Man, his art is very similar to like. He's underrated, I feel like, just like Steve McNiven. Just guys that did a lot of Marvel stuff in the early to mid to late 2000s era. And we all kind of look at it and we know it's cool, but we don't give it the props that it deserves. Afraid to get this because, yeah, you got to put it on a high shelf. All right, let's see what comes next. Some more Cassidy work. If you guys haven't read, and, personal feelings about Joss Whedon aside, if you guys haven't read his Astonishing X-Men run, it took a breath, it breathed new life into the X-Men when there wasn't life. There we go. Get a little stuffy, so I've got some peppermint oil to, just get in there. But Astonishing X-Men 13, and then this is just a Colossus pinup, I guess, or nope, Astonishing X-Men 23. He did justice to the X-Men. He very smooth looking. You look at the symmetrical and smooth. You look at Cyclops and Wolverine. They all just look smooth and symmetrical, which is a different take on it. I think maybe it was influenced by Silver Age, because when you look at some of the Silver Age these guys are in Bronze Age. They're a little bit smoother and symmetrical. And so, Stephen, I'll say this: not a Grant Morrison fan, but I loved Mark Silvestri's work and Frank Quietly's work on that book. So I'll agree with you on yes on that. Musculature on Colossus looks great. Yes, he does, and that was when they brought Colossus back too. I know some people don't like the Catman Beast, but it's a different take, so it's not going to hit for everybody. But yes, that is a fantastic Colossus. Oh Jesus! See, Captain America's scale costume shouldn't work, but it works for me on Cassidy. So this is looks like just an ad for this is just an ad for the book and a storyline. But it's still pretty cool. White Queen looked great. I like the Catman Beast, but it's not my favorite, but I liked it for being different. And then obviously we already talked about how good Colossus is. What's up, Vic? It's going great. We're going through the IDW Marvel Covers Modern Era Artist Edition, showcasing original art. And we're on John Cassidy right now. So yeah, once again, it shouldn't work, but goddamn, that cap works. It's a cool cover. Perspective and the size of him compared to Hawkeye and Wasp. Whew! Another one. Just, you think about a guy like Alex Ross, who does painting and uses, his photo and like his models and all that. Man, it's such an underrated thing what Cassidy does, because that's a real person right there. That's Captain America Reborn #1, and then this is Captain America Reborn 3, and that's a badass cover. That was the cover that they blew up to the interior. I'll show you guys what that looks like. Blowed up. If I could just get my fingernail under that paper. No, Vic, that's the thing we were talking about. That's the thing I prefaced John Cassidy with. And this, we just got finished with J. Scott Campbell before this, but Cassidy is one of those names that kind of flies under the radar, like Steve McNiven. And Cassidy did the Astonishing X-Men run with Joss Whedon, and it was a fantastic run. And then he did Captain America Reborn. So he's one of those guys that you might not know the name of, but you probably know some of the covers and some of the interior and all that stuff that he's done. So, yeah, his cap's great. And like I said, I never was a big Cap fan. I think my fandom of Captain America comes from Chris Evans and Chris Evans alone, like a lot of us. But yeah, his X-Men work too, just amazing. But this is Travis Charest, who I also was Kingdom Come Alex Ross breakout. Yeah, I get. Well, no, Marvels came before Kingdom Come, didn't it? I think Marvels came before Kingdom Come. Yeah, I think he was doing Marvels. So Marvels would have been his breakout. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I'm pretty sure Marvels was first. His first book was Terminator, one of the ones from Now Comics, I believe. So Travis Charest, somebody I don't know by art, but I know by name because I have some friends that went to art school with him. But he did Astonishing X-Men, and I was told, and I have a copy of it, I just haven't read it yet, X-Men Wildcats is one of his best books. But he is a fantastic artist, and it's nice to pair him up with Cassidy, even though it's in alphabetical order. I feel like they kind of complement each other. This is a Captain America pinup, another great Captain America piece of art. I feel like Captain America lends himself better to pieces of art than actual stories. The Brubaker stuff, I tried reading the Cap Brubaker stuff, and I wasn't into it, and I love Ed Brubaker. So here's a Magic pinup by Travis Charest, and that's just beautiful. He colored it himself, I guess. Yep, that's this is an Infernus 4 variant. Yeah, so the X-Men Wildcats one that he did, I think they did 3, and I think he did the Gold Age. I think it's gold, silver, bronze. So check which one you own, because there's some great artists, and I believe Alan. No, did Alan Moore write that? He might have. All right, here we go on to Alan Davis, the classic artist from Excalibur, and this is Excalibur 63. Yeah, I know some people that love Alan Davis. I could never get into it. His artwork is good. It's nice. I don't know. If anybody can tell me, why, what, like, if they see something in Alan Davis's art that I don't, just classic style. Okay, this is a cool cover. X-Men number 90 by Alan Davis. Well, the reason why is because what do you do when Silver Surfer's coming? You've got to call Galactus. You've got to call Galactus. X-Men 90 cover by Alan Davis. And I did not know that this existed. I probably have this book in a box somewhere. But now we move on to David Finch. Not David Fincher. Not to get the two of them confused. David Fincher, the director of Seven and Fight Club and Social Network and Gone Girl and Dragon Tattoo, is my favorite modern director. But this is David Finch and Art T-Bear doing the cover for Avengers number 80. And I feel like, everybody's had some exposure to Finch and his artwork. I don't know if everybody's a fan. I definitely enjoyed some of his stuff. I enjoyed his Moon Knight work. I enjoyed his stuff on Batman, even though I didn't love the writing. But his artwork has always stood out to me. Comes from the same time that like Stephen Platt and my buddy Joe Benitez and Michael Turner in that mid to late 90s, and always appreciated his art. This cover is from 2003. So a little bit later for him, but I like his shading. His characters always have that darker feel to them, more brooding. Well, maybe he is David Fincher in disguise, because David Fincher's movies are dark and brooding. Wow. This is a Michael Golden 2-page or wraparound cover from Wolverine Annual 96. And Michael Golden. I didn't know which cover you were talking about, Vic. But if it was the Finch, you liked it. If it was the Alan Davis, then you liked it too. But let's look at it. There's two Michael Golden pieces in here. And Michael Golden, they call him the artist's artist, because it's just every artist loves his work and is influenced by it. G.I. Joe, the Nom, Micronauts, most famously, if you were talking about key books, Michael Golden did the Avengers Annual 10, the first appearance of Rogue. Finch was good on Avengers and helped usher in the Bendis regime. That's right. Yeah, the Finch cover is great. I would love to look at more of his covers and more of his original artwork, because I've always appreciated it, and haven't read everything he's ever done, but even like the Smart Next thing he did. Interesting. So this is a golden cover from Wolverine 96 Annual, and one of the things that, if you guys didn't see, let me go grab it. It's right on the shelf. When I talked with my buddy, when we did Sit Down with Joe Benitez, he had mentioned to me something that was inspirational to Todd McFarlane's artwork. And McFarlane has even talked about this, so it's no secret. But this is a Michael Golden print from 1981. And you might see right here some familiar webbing that came long before Todd McFarlane ever drew Spider-Man. And Michael Golden's responsible for the spaghetti webbing. McFarlane cites this specific print, this specific image, as the reason why he did the webs he did. And, he just improved with what Golden was doing. So that's just a little bit of Michael Golden knowledge there that I wanted to share with y'all. But this is a great. You got is it Sunspot and Silver Samurai? Pretty cool. I have this book. I never realized it was a wraparound cover. Stupid me. Oh wow! Here's another Golden. What is this? X-Men Chronicles. X-Men Chronicles number 2. Pages 2 and 3. The spread is bananas. Onslaught? Or is that Magneto? Or is it Magneto Onslaught? I don't remember, man. I read that whole thing, and there was a lot to read. But this is great. It's Magneto just tearing shit up. There's bodies and machinery everywhere. Kind of feels like the machinery is very, very Kirby inspired. The rest of it doesn't seem to be, but the machinery to me looks very Kirby inspired. Oh boy, we got the double K. Damn, double K back to back. We got the only Dale Keown cover that they used in this book, and that's an okay cover. There's so much better Hulk Dale Keown run. And if you're not another one you're not familiar with, Dale Keown, Keown, he did Hulk after McFarlane, and he did it for a while. I was like 15, 20 issues, maybe something like that during the Peter David run, introduced Professor Hulk and all that. And then when he jumped to Image Comics, he goes and does Pitt, and becomes like one of the most spotty release dates. Keeps getting delayed and come out like 3 issues, and then anyway. His run on Hulk is fantastic, though. It really is. I always liked his signature too, but a lot going on in this cover. Some yellowing here, though. But I wish they could have picked a better Hulk cover. Pitt was sick. Pitt was. I mean, let's face it. Pitt was just gray Hulk with no nose and fangs. But let's talk about something else much more important, and I mean, to me at least, much more important than Dale Keown. We got Sam Keith. Sam Keith. I don't know where to start with Sam Keith. One of the most influential, one of the most unique artists to ever work in mainstream comics or in comics in general. This is Marvel Tales number 262, the original cover. A bunch of paste ups here, pretty much all paste ups over here, and then the art's here. But he's doing it's one of the few times he did Spider-Man in the 90s, and he would come back to do some Spider-Man stuff later on with Venom. But he had done a fill-in issue on Hulk, and he was mostly known for his Marvel Comics Presents work in the Wolverine stuff, which spanned, that's like 25, 30 issues. And holy shit, we're going to get to some of that right now. Oh, yeah. So I could talk about just these 2 covers for a half hour, but I won't. I don't want to be here for 3 hours. But Marvel Comics Presents 85, and his hairy Wolverine was just out of this world. Absolutely out of this world. Nobody to this day, I feel nobody has drawn Wolverine like this. The hair, wild. The hair, wild, and also kind of realistically wild. Whereas, like, when you think about his hair and some of the, like Barry Windsor Smith, I love Barry Windsor Smith's Logan and Wolverine, but the hair didn't feel like anybody could actually manage that hair. This looks like, okay, I'm going to style my hair to look like I just got out of fucking 2 suction cups. But man, this cover is so sick. And if seriously, sheesh indeed, if you've never picked up any of the Sam Keith Marvel Comics Presents, you're really doing yourself a disservice. It's a shame those Keith books are basically dollar bin fodder. Yeah. But that's that bodes well. That bodes well. It really does. It bodes well for the fact that like anybody could afford it, though. That Wolverine is so good, I want to break his hands. And then, okay, so then we got that Wolverine, and then we go to this one, which is, I like this cover better in color because I feel like the reflection of what this is shows better in the printed cover. But god damn, what he's able to do, the amount of detail he put in, but like the costume, and we'll see the de-evolution of Wolverine's costume over the course of the next couple of covers, because I feel like there's about 10 pages of Sam Keith art here. Oh god, this thing is just nuts. I mean, to me, when I was a kid, I'm older, and I'm sure some of you in here are my age, but it was like, why does he have telephone cords hanging off of him? But just the way that Sam Keith would shred the costume and all the line work put into the Wolverine, like And then what they did with the trade dress. People weren't really doing it at that time. Keith was my introduction to so much cool stuff, right? Like same, Sean. You know, you get this, and then you get the Max after this, and you can go back and look at some of his earlier stuff, which I have some of that. But then he did a lot of covers for Batman during the Bane Nightfall, and then some stuff after that. Like, yeah, there's so much. It introduced me to what weird art could be in the mainstream for sure. 100% an all timer. Yeah, this thing is posters, cards. It's been used, and rightfully so. It should be on a T-shirt. Everybody should own a T-shirt of this. Yep. And then there's this. This one is that weird, like, see, look at how he changed Wolverine, and this is like a psychedelic storyline, if I remember, something to do with Native American. I don't remember. Yes, I have small hands tonight. These are big comics. Stuff being dollar bin fodder is preferred. Yeah, there you go. That's true. That's true. Yes, they are. They are. I shrank my hands down tonight. I see so much Etrigan the Demon from the way he draws Wolverine. I can see that. Keith, I mean, there's, so Jerome, the one on the left is 92, and then that's 94. And then it was 85 and 90. So 85, 90, 92, 94. I have like a short box of all this stuff, so can always put out sets of this on for sale and stuff like that. But yeah, there's so much that this opened my eyes to. Yeah, okay, so it's this storyline. I don't remember the details of the storyline, but 95, that's an okay cover. I do like the Zipatone he used in the back, and then you got the shape of the Native American guy back there. But this fucking cover, holy shit. He might have. I don't know. I mean, he's done plenty of DC stuff. So another thing that people don't maybe know about Sam Keith, he's a co-creator of Sandman. He was one of the illustrators in Sandman when it first started. For the first 6 issues, him and Gaiman, I don't know if they didn't get along per se, but Keith wasn't able to work at the pace that Neil Gaiman was writing. And so the creative team between the two of them didn't work out. But he still is a co-creator of Sandman and Dream of the Endless and everybody that appeared in the first 6 issues. This is a great cover. This is the cover to 97. And then guys. I know some people don't like the cover to issue 100. And to them I say, you're an idiot. But holy shit. This is the cover, back and front cover, to issue 100. I have always loved this cover. Front cover showing Wolverine lifting the 100 and Ghost Rider kind of being like, ugh. And then it falls. So he did at least a pinup in 2011. Okay, so there you go. Good to know. I'll have to look that up. So if you're just seeing this for the first time, you got to track down a copy of issue 100. Now, I wish I had it on me. I didn't think about it because I didn't look at this book until we're looking at it now. But this is homaged on multiple occasions, but the one that sticks out in my mind, Spawn 200 homages this cover with Spawn holding the 200 up. I think that's what it is. And then it homages this in a way. 220 has Spawn holding up the 200, the 200, but one of the zeros falls and he says shit, and it just says 20. So take a look at Spawn 200 and 220, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I have always loved these covers. I don't know if it's coming up, but I think it is. What's up, Treasure? Treasure. Good old Treasure. Good old Treasure. Well, the reason why, Trevor, that reminds you of the Max is because this is Sam Keith, creator of the Max. Good old Treasure Nesbitt. All right, here we go. You ready? Oh, it's not these. Man, how did they leave those out? He does three covers with Venom and Wolverine, and they're amazing, or four covers. But here's towards the end of Sam Keith's run on Marvel Comics Presents, and it's a team up with Wolverine and Nightcrawler. I like the way he did the yellow costume. He does get to do all of the iterations of the Wolverine in here, with the regular costume, the yellow costume, Logan without anything. You're a so I thought this was going to be the Venom covers, but it's not. But these are still great. He Look at the mean mug face he draws. He draws really good mean mugging faces. So um, there'll be a lot of talk about Sam Keith on this channel, as there always is. Um, Last week, if you didn't watch, my buddy John Wayshak was on, and we talked about his work in comics, and he does a comic with Sam Keith called Chicken's Revolt, or Revolt of Chickens. Chicken Revolt? Chicken Revolt. And at some point, I'm going to get Alex Pardee on here, and we're going to talk more about Sam Keith too, because Alex and Sam did a comic together as well. So Sam Keith is the connective tissue of all my friends in the comic book industry, apparently. All right, now that we're out of Sam Keith, sadly, we're going to go to Adam. Yes, Adam Kubert. This is Hulk 454, cover I'm not familiar with, and can honestly say underwhelmed. Yeah, actually, the last one they did was like 2015 or something like that. I agree. Get more Marvel Comics Presents. It was a great series. You get 3 or 4 stories in every book, and it broke some new talent. First, Joe Madureira, I think, is Marvel Comics Presents. The first Stephen Platt was supposed to be Marvel Comics Presents, but they never published that story. Yeah, there's a bunch of artists that got their start in Marvel Comics Presents. This Adam Kubert cover, that's a fantastic cover. Uncanny X-Men 381, that's a variant. And, we already talked about it a little bit before, but Kubert drew a hell of a Wolverine. I mean, he's not limited to just drawing, great characters and just being Wolverine, but damn, his Wolverine was badass. He's done some of the best Wolverine covers in the last 20 years. So that's X-Men 381 variant. This Hulk 454, maybe it looks better colored. It's a little tough to see what's going on. The perspective on it's not great. Shading on it's cool, like the blacks and all that, but not really impressed by that cover. Oh yeah, this is a great one. If you're gonna have one Jay Lee cover in here, I guess this is a pretty good one to have. I feel like Jay Lee is one of those people. It started off, his style was very unrefined when he started, and making comics is literally, yeah, it is. It is literally in his blood. His dad, his brother. Apparently, there's a sister or daughter now who's in comics in the Kubert family. So Jay Lee's early work in Marvel and in comics in general was wild. It was very much messy and chaotic in a good way, dark. But as he gets more refined, like I think this is like kind of the pinnacle of the in between of both of his kind of arcs of his career. His refined arc and his unrefined arc. But this is Inhumans #1, and his use of white in here. Yeah, this is Trevor. They're in alphabetical, so we're in L right now. His use of white on here, really, the light, and when you see the finished cover, it really hits even better. But his Black Bolt's pretty badass. Not sure who this guy is. Tattoo Face. He's like Taserface's brother. And then we jump from Jay Lee to Jim Lee. You guys have heard of him, right? Jimothy Lee. Guy drew an X-Men comic or something. He started on Alpha Flight Marvel, and this is the cover to Alpha Flight number 56. And you can see some early Jim Lee in here, but this really doesn't get, like, if I didn't know that this was Jim Lee by looking at the name right here and Terry Austin inking, I wouldn't know. All right, so Laura says Jay Lee's stuff always comes very surreal to me. I really like the style he's posing. Yeah, yeah. I kind of think whenever I think of Jay Lee, I think of the couple of books he did for the Spider-Man adjectiveless series after McFarlane, and then I think of Hellshock. So both very surreal. You mean the guy who did the hardcore #1 cover? Uh, yes, little known fact: Stan Lee's son is Jim Lee, aka Jimothy Lee. It's weird because Stan's a old white man, and Jim was born an Asian American, Korean, if I'm not wrong. Uh, but that is his son. I mean, shit, might as well have been right because Jim Lee comes in like a like a force to be reckoned with, and illustrates the highest selling Marvel comic of all time. So his early Alpha Flight work is pretty underrated. It's pretty interesting to see because over the course of however many issues he does, and I don't know how many it is, but I know it's around 10. And Jamin Lee is Stan Lee's father. Yeah, it's this weird family of Lees throughout Marvel Comics that are all related. I love this new lore writer. Uh, so his work in Alpha Flight, you can see it getting more Jim Lee and more Jim Lee as it goes on. And this is a cover I've never seen, and I thought I saw them all. Alpha Flight 67. This is Carl Potts and Jim Lee, and Potts and Lee work together on a bunch of different things. And then this uh, is Lee, but I'm not sure if he's inking himself. I think he is. Okay, no. So 68. So it's interesting. These two are inked by Carl Potts, but they look more Jim Lee than the Terry Austin one. But then when we get into Jim Lee inking Jim Lee, that's when you can see the Jim Lee that we all know and love, like his early work. You look at that Wolverine, and he's got a little bit of Byrne in it. He's got a little bit of Art Adams, but it's his own little thing that he's got going on. So Michael Golden, but you can see here in the line work, especially on Wolverine's arms, you can see the Jim Lee that we know and love. And then we get here, and we're at what is that? That is Amazing Heroes 192 from 1991. I love it when he drew. He was like the first that I can remember, and I could be wrong. That maybe Byrne. I doubt Cockrum did, but he was the first one I can remember to really draw the X-Men in kind of like wearing human clothes and wearing like dolled up and stuff because they would have these weird like I don't know. There's something about when Jim Lee draws the X-Men not wearing their uniforms that I always enjoyed. Jim Lee's Alpha Flight was really good. I didn't disrespect it. I'm not disrespecting anything about Jim Lee. I love Jimothy Lee. Oh, here we go. Now we skipped past Uncanny X-Men apparently, and we go right to his X-Men run, the very, very, very high-selling X-Men run. He did a two-parter with Ghost Rider, so that's the cover for 27. His flames always stuck out to me as just being just amazing, like the way he drew Flame. I always liked it. But this is actually Ghost Rider 27. My bad. And that's Uncanny. Wow, I'm just dropping the ball. But Scott Williams, his longtime inker, started around here. And, I think Scott Williams and Jim Lee could be the single greatest inking, penciling team in all of comics in this era. Don't think I could say that about certain Jack Kirby inkers. This I think I did know about Dwayne McDuffie and Keegan Michael Key. Half brother, whatever. I get the idea. All right, so we get Uncanny X-Men 274, the Savage Land cover with the Savage Land Rogue and some Nick Fury blowing smoke rings. Jim Lee, probably the last Marvel illustrator to be able to draw cigars and characters smoking in the mainstream. Guys. Well, let's look at Uncanny 277. This cover was kind of always high on my list for the poses. I didn't like Gambit in the yellow costume at all. Wolverine in the yellow costume, fine. Gambit in the yellow costume didn't fucking work. But God, I love this cover too. Paste up heads. And just love the poses, dynamic poses, and more Jim Lee, Scott Williams. And then you get the second appearance and the first full cover appearance of Omega Red, another classic cover, a great snow fight. Always another thing. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this when you were younger, but Jim Lee always did that thing with Wolverine where like you could see his skeleton because his costume is ripped, except for the fact that that means his flesh is ripped off because you can see the adamantium skeleton, which is wild. But I think we know what's coming here. Yeah, it's not this fucking table. This camera is not big enough for the whole thing. But is this the most iconic X-Men image of all time? Does this supersede anything else? Does this supersede Giant Size X-Men #1? Does this supersede X-Men #1? In my opinion, it does. But I'm also 43, so this is my childhood right here. But when I think about the X-Men, this is the first thing that pops into my head. Giant Size X-Men is probably the second thing that pops into my head. But Jesus Christ, this thing is, I mean, it's beyond iconic. It's the greatest, the highest selling Marvel comic of all time. 8 million copies or something like that. And it didn't even go into a second printing, which is the fucking craziest thing. What did they print? 2 million of each cover, and then, or 1.5 of each cover, and then they printed another 1.5 of the other. Yeah, like when I think of there's nobody that's left off of this. That's an iconic X-Men. You got Archangel. So I just don't think that there's anything more iconic than this when it comes to the X-Men. I love the group shot of all the X teams on the back of that cover. I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know what that image is. It's not going to be in here, but I know what that image is. But this thing is just, this is the height of comics in the modern age. This is the beginning of what would be the oversaturation of comics, but such an iconic cover. You're 15 and it's the most iconic thing. Yeah, so there you go. So it's pretty iconic. It's pretty iconic. Let's look at that one more time. And it's just so funny. Like you could feel it in the like way that we collected comics in the 90s, but you could feel it that Wolverine was the most popular character, even though like the internet wasn't a thing and the movies didn't exist yet. But I just love, like, you got to put the leader of the X-Men, sure, near Magneto, but you also have to put the badass of the badasses. Yeah, it does. It totally supersedes Generations. All right, so X-Men #6, another Jim Lee classic. RT Bear doing the inks on this, and I don't like RT Bear inking Lee as much as Scott Williams, but that's okay. That's okay. That and Infinity War helped me move on to more comics when I got tired of the G.I. Joe comics. Yeah, that makes sense. I was not a big G.I. Joe fan, but I feel like that makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. It's kind of like how Sandman helped me move on to better writing in comics when I got older, to read some of the stuff that I read, the Alan Moore, the Frank Miller, Brian K. Vaughan stuff after I started reading Neil Gaiman. Considering the number of ripoffs, yeah. Well, actually, we're going to get to a cover here that's probably supersedes that for the most iconic cover. But I think you kind of might guess what that is. X-Men 11, though, another perfect cover by Jim Lee with inks by Bob Wiacek. And Bob Wiacek, he's done 2 of the most iconic Wolverine covers of all time, being, I would say, X-Men 11 and also Hulk 340. He inked McFarlane's Hulk 340. For me, it's Astonishing X-Men cover. That's I like that. That's a good cover too. I'm kind of surprised that it wasn't in here, but yeah, can't have them all. I love Jubilee, the way he drew Jubilee, kind of like, because she's kind of like she is a teenager. So, oh, hello, baby. You know what I like. No, it's not, but you will see. You will see. It'll be here sooner than later. My first comics being done, no Marvel DC. Let me see that. Yeah, for sure. That's a good way to look at it. If you read the non-Marvel DC stuff, then this stuff might actually be fun. But if you start reading this and you get tired of it, then you have to find something else. All right, so here we go with one of my all-time favorites. That is no surprise to anybody. Rob Liefeld, or as the French would call him, Robert Liefeld. Uh, so Todd inked a number of the New Mutants covers that Rob penciled in the 90s, and this is my favorite of them all. New Mutants number 93. First of all, you don't need a background, so it's just like what Liefeld's drawing around here, the lines, it's just like the shock, the anger, the action, the energy that's going on from Wolverine berserkering, jumping on fucking Cable, ready to skewer him. And holy good God, this is just I love this cover. And how big is Cable? How big is Cable? Is he 7 feet 9 inches and also 420 pounds of half steel, half flesh? I don't know. But God, I love this cover. I had this signed by Todd and Rob, and I sold it for one of my buddy Angel's charity events. And then this is New Mutants 94. So this was during the Extinction Agenda, and these covers are seared into my mind because I was buying all those books. That's when they killed Warlock. Not Adam Warlock, but Warlock. You could say what you want about Rob's art, but Rob's art in his early days has an energy to it that's unmatched. I would put the energy on this cover equal to or greater than the energy on that cover. Different styles, different tools, different line work, but the energy of these covers, so good. This one, I just always love the gun. What the hell is he holding? Rob, I love your art. If you're ever going to see this, but you never will. New Mutants 100. So this is the final issue of New Mutants. Iconic cover for me too. Right before they started X-Force, they ended New Mutants. Rob's got his things. He loves his open mouths. The open mouth is everywhere. It's there. But that's his expressive way. That's his way of expressing things. That's okay. His early art, and I wanna show something off. Let me see if it's close. Okay, you guys, just hold on one sec. I've talked about this before. That What If book. What number is that? What If number 7. Okay. I've got a run of What If here so I can pull it out. Okay, cool. Let's get to it. All right. I got that What If autograph, but not sure who it is. Well, it's either Scott Williams or it's Rob. I can see who wrote it though. So here's the cover for What If number 7. Great book. What If Wolverine was Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Love the background. The background's very kind of bullet holes and a screen tone. The juxtaposition on that cover is fantastic. So there's your cover right there. There's the original. It really pops. But what is so special about this issue, and I feel like some of you might track it down. It's a great read. What If Wolverine was an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.? But the second page, so here's your first page. Now the second page is Rob doing an homage to Hulk 181. Look at this fucking 2-page spread. I think it's my favorite piece of artwork that Rob Liefeld has ever done. And this is found in the pages of What If number 7. I know the person that owns this. I don't know him personally, but I follow him on Instagram, and I've messaged him about this before. I think it's very much unlike anything I had seen Rob do. Hopping off the the Watcher in the background, and the Watcher does not look like Rob's, usual thing. It's written by Jim Valentino, so maybe your book's signed by Jim Valentino, but absolutely love the first 2-page spread of that What If #7, and that's the original cover for it. So even yeah, I could be into that. Kurt Cobain of comics. All right. I picked up a ton of McFarlane Spider-Man books and Liefeld X-Force at a con for super cheap recently. Books all had white pages and super. That's awesome. Well, hey, you can't ask for much more, especially on this era, because a lot of these pages didn't stay white. Shitty paper. But if you've never read this before, track it down. It's a $1 book, maybe a $5 book at most. But it's got some fantastic Liefeld art in it. Yeah, send me a photo of that book on Instagram, and I'll let you know who signed it. As I used to work in the autograph industry, so I'm really good with knowing what that stuff is. All right, so God, to look at some of these original covers of Rob is just, it's a treat. It's a treat. Oh, and we get the X-Men 1 wraparound cover. X-Force 1. God, I'm dropping the ball on things tonight. It must be SunDAVE. I don't know, something about it, but second highest selling comic of all time. So polybagged with a card, but this is what the original cover looks like. So much line work going into this. You got one open mouth, only one open mouth in here, and it's just quintessential Rob. Quintessential Rob. I don't know who still owns this, but or who owns this, I should say. I wonder if it's Rob, but I kind of doubt it. I feel like he sold a lot of his stuff early on. Oh, and then we get, what is this, the first 2 pages? Let's see. Yep. Page 2 and 3 of X-Force #1. And you can see there's some action in here. Lots of open mouths. Paste up, some white out, a little bit of everything on here. Some yellowing. Is that just black line? Love that logo. Logo pops. Everything about this rocks. The energy. It's all about the energy in his artwork. You could talk all the shit you want about his technical skills, but the man had an energy. And you know what? When you're reading a comic as a kid, or even as an adult, right? As an adult or as a kid reading this, you're just like, oh, this is sick. This is like watching a Schwarzenegger movie. This is like watching an action movie. It just has that energy. Oh, this is an homage to Teen Titans. I did not know that. Which, Teen Titans #1. Do you know what issue, Steven? Uh-oh, guys. Todd alert. Todd alert. All right, we'll look at this yet. X-Force #11, first appearance of the real Domino. It's inked by Scott. I don't know who Scott is. Scott Lobdell? Maybe? Fourth appearance of Deadpool. Second cover of Deadpool, I believe. Third cover, I guess, of Deadpool. All right. Sorry, Rob, but it's Todd time. It's Todd time. Okay. I can always Google it. I'm sure if it's a known fact, I'll be able to find it. So we've got Amazing Spider-Man 301. Interesting. There's a note that says Fabian forgot to Xerox backgrounds. But who would that be to? Fabian Nicieze? I didn't know that he was working there yet. Classic cover. This debuts Todd doing, oh, there we go. Fourth cover of Deadpool. Todd getting to do Spidey in the regular, classic costume for the first time on the cover, and just an iconic cover in its own. Funny thing about this, I went to, and I thought it was an actual public gallery. It's called Metropolis Comics Gallery or something in Manhattan. I was there earlier this year, and on the back wall, they're actually an auction house. On the back wall, hidden behind some boxes, they had this fucking cover framed. And I was just like, why is it? I yelled at them. I'm like, why is this behind boxes? I could just see the top, but I knew exactly what cover it was. Um, and another fun thing about this, I don't know if it got signed yet. I didn't get it back. I didn't get the grade back, but I sent a ASM 301 Mark Jewelers to the Todd signing, and so I'm excited to get that back for the collection. Yeah, of course, Jerome. I thought it was interesting when it was pointed out to me, and wanted to pass that knowledge on because yeah, you could see that that Michael Golden print predates this by 7 years. Oh, here we go. ASM 317 and just a fantastic cover. Lots of black going on here. The symbiote, little Ben Grimm hiding in the corner saying, "Hey!" The corner box. Just everything about McFarlane's covers. This one was signed. I wonder who owns it. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this that we all haven't said before about his Spider-Man covers, but some can say that this is the best Venom cover next to 316, but I know some people out like this more. Todd Hulk. Yeah, Todd Hulk's underrated. I mean, yes and no. 340 is appropriately rated. 344 is appropriately rated. But, some of his other covers don't get the love. This is 341, the Man Bull cover. I like this cover a lot. Yeah, a little bit of Frankenstein look to it. Definitely horror centric. And McFarlane was just firing on all cylinders in these years. Just completely. Speak of the devil, there's 344 there, but we'll look at 343 first. Lots of detail, chaos, broken machinery flying everywhere. It's just a treat to really see what these look like without the colors, without the the glossy work all over it. Just see it in its original form. Granted, it's a scan, but this is about as good as you're going to get. Todd's Hulk is terrifying. Yeah. I mean, the word Hulk really comes to mind when you think of an adjective to describe what his Hulk. He looks hulking, scary. And then 344. I mean, look, Todd loves his iconic poses, so he uses them often. And then after that, everybody else used them to death. But Bob Wyasek doing the inks on some of these covers, and he's one of my favorite complimentary inkers to McFarlane. I've heard that 344 looking like Spidey 3. There's no way that's a coincidence. Come on. Full moon also. Giant moon. Hulk be nimble. Hulk be quick. All right, no. What's the one about jumping? I don't know. Fucking nursery rhymes, man. Oh, let me pin that. Just so people know that I was responding to him. Gotta keep it hydrated. All right. So the cover image for this book is right here. Marvel Age 90. This is a preview of Spider-Man. His noodle webs, inspired by Michael Golden, just a little bit different. His dynamic poses of Spidey, the action that you get, the sense of action you get from his Spider-Man covers is unparalleled until this day. Like Bachalo kind of comes to mind as somebody that gets that vibe of that kind of action in Spidey. But you look at a lot of the guys who have done Amazing Spider-Man since, and they don't have this kind of energy on Spider-Man. And whatever energy that they have, I feel like they kind of lifted from McFarlane. Inspired. I don't mean, lifted as in stolen. Just inspired. I mean, look, the only guy that built his career out of Todd McFarlane Spider-Man, or Todd McFarlane in general, really was Clayton Crane, because Capullo became his own thing. Like, Capullo's art became a Capullo's thing. You look at Clayton Crane, it's just like, oh, you're computer-generated McFarlane. I don't like Clayton Crane. I'm sorry. All right, Marvel Tales number 223. One of the very few times you get to see Todd doing anything having to do with Doc Ock, and they're just covers. Once again, lots of action. Todd knows action. Remember all the Spidey toys that came out when his little McFarlane Joe? That's right. That's right. He changed Spider-Man forever, for the better. No, Hulk 345 cover that was Epic Hulk. Yeah. The purple cover with the trade dress, smashing the trade dress. Yeah, that was great. I love that cover. Okay, so now we talk about iconic covers and the most iconic cover in the last 50 years of comics, all time, maybe. All right, well, here's Marvel Tales 227. All respect to this cover. I don't the scan's kind of whack on it, but let's look at Spider-Man #1. Sells more millions and millions of copies than any other book at the time. Changes Spider-Man forever. This is the book. This is what does it. Like Amazing Spider-Man covers were great, but this is the cover. This thing is. Can you think of a Spider-Man image after AF-15 that really hits home more than this? Like Spider-Man 300 and 301, great covers. The Hobgoblin cover is a great cover. 252 is great. But once again, 252 doesn't exist without the artwork of Amazing Fantasy 15, whereas this is its own thing. And this is Spider-Man #1 with how many spiders? Guess, and you could win something from Todd McFarlane circa 32 years ago. But this thing is just a beauty. Now, I think it would be an appropriate time to bring this up, but if you haven't entered the giveaway for 1,500 subscribers, you have a chance to win a 9/8 copy of this book from me right there. All you have to do is subscribe, which you are watching this, you're already subscribed. Watch a video all the way through, put in a comment that says something about that video so I know you watched the whole thing because that helps, and hashtag it with STWT, see Todd, win Todd, and you'll be entered. I'll do the drawing when I hit 1,500 subscribers. Now, the other way to win something from me in that same drawing is take the link to my channel, post it somewhere, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and I'll give a bonus entry and you'll be able to win something else. So just figured I'd plug that now. Hello, Amber. I think it's more than 30, but let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Yeah, I lost count, but I was about to hit 30. But check it out. That's the original artwork for Spider-Man #1. What I would consider the most iconic comic book cover in the last 50 years. And there's the hashtag you're supposed to put in, but this is not that video. This is a live video. I know you're watching it because you just commented. See, here's the deal. I'm not trying to be a stickler. Not just Counting with Dave. It's the new show. The reason why I ask people to watch a video is if you watch a video all the way through, it boosts that show in the algorithm. It pushes out to other people that haven't seen this channel. So that's how I get new people to the channel, is when people watch videos. This is my new YouTube show, Counting with Dave. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. All right. Does anybody agree? You don't think this is actually live? It is live. Live from New York. It's Saturday night with your musical guest, Dave. All right, sorry. Anybody agree with me or disagree with me or want to challenge me on the statement that I made about being the most iconic cover of all time, or at least the modern times? And then you got the apple bottom ass cover, Spider-Man #8, and this thing is just wild. One spider. Two spider. 3 spider. I love this cover. It's so ridiculous. His leg's broken because it's like at a 90-degree angle behind his back. Uh, there's some weird like coloring going on in here. He must have had a marker or something that different black back there. Spooderman is a thick boy. Oh wow, we just got Spidey looking thick. Todd John for the ladies. I love you guys. I love this. Big boy. Yeah, Todd does love his exaggerated body parts. I am coming out with some NFTs. There are no fucking thank yous. Uh, and then yes, that cap art. We'll get to that in a second. But this cover deserves a little just recognition. And when cartoonist Kayfabe went through this book, they traced over this just to see what it looked like, and it's fucking ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I get stuffy. I don't get it. I just don't get it. All right, so the cap art is pretty dope. Let's see who did that. That's the end of McFarlane there, and that is that's Steve McNiven, which I don't recognize this piece from McNiven either. And it's I guess it's all pencil. It looks all pencil art, which is beautiful. Because I don't know what else looks like that besides pencil. Maybe charcoal, maybe a little air. Oh, maybe that's a brush. I don't know, but it's a beautiful Steve McNiven. I would like to have seen some of his artwork from Civil War, which I absolutely love his artwork in that. But maybe one day. No, sorry, Broken Leg Spider-Man doesn't really do it unless I did. All right, here we go with Mike Mignola. And if you don't know Mike Mignola, check out the character Hellboy. He created him. But Mignola did a lot of art for Marvel and DC before he did Hellboy. And this is just a cool homage to Avengers #1 right here, which I don't know what this was used for. Avengers Annual 20. That's a pinup in it. And that's pretty amazing. And then he did a bunch of X-Men Classic covers after Art Adams had. So there's something about Mignola's art that I've always, like when I was a kid, I didn't like it. And I feel like every kid that sees Mignola's art for the first time, when they grow up around Larson and McFarlane and Lee, they don't get it. But then when it finally clicked with me, I was like, oh God, he's such a great artist. And it was because I read Hellboy. I think I needed to read something that was his to really appreciate his art. The kind of granite, I don't know, like stone. It reminds me of like everybody's cut out of stone. There's always a lot of rocks and cavernous type looking things in his art and castles. So I think there's something about his art that really lends to stone. There you go. Yeah, he is a great guy to talk to. I think I overextended a talk with him when I started talking too long to him, but he was really nice. Oh, cool. Yeah, this is a great cover. P. Craig Russell doing the inks on it too, which is fantastic. Here's some more classic X-Men. Yeah, and the way he draws characters kind of very like they're cut out of stone, square or at least square shapes, rectangular shapes. I just can't describe it, but I got nothing when it comes to technical talk. I leave that to the people that create art. But the way I feel about this stuff gives its energy, its emotion, and that's there's just something about his art that always very like when it finally spoke to me, it's very stone-like and very archaic. Think of like Greek statues, stuff that you would see in ancient Greece and pictures and the architecture. Like I feel like his artwork lends itself to that. And look, there, without even thinking about that, there's some Greek architecture, or at least Roman or whatever that is, Latin architecture, in his artwork. Oh, this one too. Always like this cover. Little Strucker Nazi action there with Magneto and what I assume that's maybe Charles. And when you read Hellboy, it's all drenched in World War II Nazi lore. as a kid, you hated Sienkiewicz and obviously loved them. But yeah, exactly. It's the same way I didn't love Bill Sienkiewicz. Sienkiewicz. Bill Sienkiewicz. 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 I didn't love him as much when I was a kid, but obviously now I fucking sing about the man. Mignola's work from, it feels almost like the Batman the Animated Series where he draws on black paper and uses white and other. Yeah, especially with this cover, like that's a perfect example right there. It's like it's all black, and he's just like, well, here's white, here's white, here's white. Nolan's stuff gives off the Mignola vibes too. They worked in very close to each other. I don't know, like if I meant, like I don't mean in space, but time wise, they were doing Batman stuff around the same time. Nolan was doing some stuff, and Mignola did some Dark Knight, Legends of the Dark. No, not Legends of the Dark Knight. He was doing just the Batman title. So yes, 100%. Trevor, I'm excited to see what you think about that Aliens piece that I sent you, or I'm sending it out tomorrow. The graphic novel with Nolan and Mignola, right there. Boom. Now we go to Carlos Pacheco, who just passed away. Unfortunately, there was a lot of outpouring of love for his stuff, and I'm not really too familiar with it. But here's an Avengers Forever cover, number 10. Kind of, reminds me of Art Adams, but not. A little bit smoother and softer than Art Adams. And then here's two more covers from him. These really, really nice covers. A lot going on. You got Kang, and I guess that's a Mortis. And a Super Scroll, so that's Fantastic Four 37 and Avengers Forever TBP. Yeah, rest in peace, Carlos. And everybody said he was a very nice guy too, which does not surprise me. So a couple covers from him. And then we got, I think, one or two more pieces of his. It's nice to see his original artwork. Kind of a fair tribute to him. That Super Scroll's really dope. He does really good with broken stone and crumbling rocks. I love it. Oh, that's a great. Yeah, very, very much like kind of reminds me of old style mixed with some Art Adams, maybe some Mike. I don't know. Just some Silver Age Fantastic Four. That's okay. We all love to buy and see Mignola. Yeah, a little Art Adams, a little Madureira. Yeah. Really goes into that late 90s, early 2000s style. Here's a piece, a variant cover from X-Men 62, and he's inked by Art T-Bear. Yeah, this Fantastic Four is really nice. And it's Wyasek. It's Wyasek doing the inks. Bob Wyasek, man. Unsung hero of Marvel in the latter period of the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, I guess. Yeah, this reminds me a lot of Madureira. Really does. Oh boy. Uh-oh. Where's my brother Cal Yeti? And there it is. Moon Knight 57, the classic Stephen Platt cover, homage to Amazing Spider-Man, number 300, 301, Hulk 30, 344. So I was just thinking his thing art would probably be nice when you mentioned his rock work when you flip the page. Splat! Stephen Platt, one of my all-time favorites, especially from this era. And short but sweet career at Marvel, goes to Image, ends up moving on to movie and video game stuff, and has a multi-year successful career. It's still going. But I just picked this book up for the first time. Never had it. Always wanted it. Always was way too much. I didn't think I should pay $90 for this book, and finally got it from my buddy Jim. And then next is going to be Will Portasio's X Factor. But I love the way that they cut up the trade dress and pasted it on. It's just such a great cover. Fucking Moon Knight is yoked. Like Spider-Man's yoked, but Moon Knight is yoked. Look at the size of his leg. Look at the size of Spider-Man's leg. Look at that. It's huge. His thigh is gigantic. Wills, yes. Wilson RT Bear, a great team that I don't think they get the credit that they deserve, but Wills is a fantastic artist. He, when I first saw his art, and this is moving on to Will Sportasio, who's one of the founding members of Image. When I first saw his art, I was like, oh, it's like Jim Lee, but he separated himself. His Iceman was the thing that really separated him from everybody else. His fucking Iceman is the coolest Iceman that ever existed. Wills. And there's so much going on this cover, line work, and just very interesting to see it. But his goddamn Iceman was so good. So good. Wow. This is the cover for X-Men 281, I believe. Let's see. Yes. X-Men 281, wraparound cover. And once again, his Iceman, just the best Iceman. His Archangel's fantastic. Just this cover's probably the best X-Men cover in the since the Jim Lee era. Seriously, like since 275 or whenever Jim Lee left, 277, 278. Glad he was doing Gambit in the X-Men Legends. Yes, he did. He was co-creator on Bishop, I guess, with Claremont. Was Claremont still writing it, or was he writing it? But I guess Claremont wasn't writing it anymore. But yeah, this is the cover before 282. Always loved this cover, and don't think it gets as much love. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, he took over for Jim Lee, so it's gonna. Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. We'll go to that in a sec. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Now we get to Joe Quesada and another legend, like absolute legend. Somebody that took Daredevil and just pumped new life into him several times in the look. Definitely kind of did, what Quesada did with Daredevil is very much akin to what McFarlane did with Spider-Man. John Romita was drawing a really cool. John Romita did a really cool Daredevil after the Frank Miller run, and that's interesting to know. I did not know that, Derpa. I don't play Marvel Snap, but obviously I'm exposed to it with Justin's channel, so I'd like to see some of that. Okay, so Claremont left during the Mirrorland saga. Okay. But yes, what Quesada did visually with Daredevil is very much what McFarlane did to Spidey. But I fucking love this. This is comic book New York to me, if I ever saw one. To me, now that makes no sense because the perspective on this is I'm looking at him on a ledge and there's two water towers behind him, which means these apartment buildings that are giant that all need water towers. But either way, this is New York comics, which is very much different than New York in real life. It's embellished, but I really love this cover. And this is Daredevil 3 from 1999. So this would be the Marvel Knights Daredevil. And then this is Quesada, inked by Danny Mickey, is not as cool to me as Quesada and Palmiotti, which they're a team just like Scott Williams and Jim Lee. They're match made in heaven, the two of them. So this is Daredevil 3. So from 1999, I don't think it's a variant, but let's see. Yeah, that's just Daredevil 3. I always knew Quesada stuff from his movie and TV stuff, but recently discovered his cover work, and his work in comics is unbelievable. He changed comics so many different ways, and the main way is when he took over as editor-in-chief for Marvel. If you don't have Quesada as editor-in-chief in the late 90s, early 2000s, whenever it happened, you wouldn't get the MCU. That's right. Quesada and Mallrats. That's right. So we just get 2 pages, 2 covers from Joey Q, which I wish there was more, but hopefully you can get an artist edition of Joey Q. And then we get to Frank Quietly, who's another. Oh, I'm sorry, Derpa. This is the IDW Marvel covers the modern era artist edition. There's 3 different covers to this. There's a Sam Keith Wolverine cover. There's this cover, and then I think there's a Life Health cover, which I obviously am going to go for the McFarlane cover every time. Frank Quietly, another just fucking genius. Nobody like him. Very influenced by Mobius, and his work in comics spans. He does this run of New X-Men with Grant Morrison, who's his longtime on and off collaborator. Quietly also does the book that I like the most from Grant Morrison is We Three. He also did All-Star Superman with Morrison. He's just a brilliant illustrator. Brilliant. His faces all have this weird look to them, and I love it because it's his and his alone. Look at all these notes on here. Colors, silver or chrome, dog tags, chain, zips, and claws, all glinting and shiny as if under a dazzling light. Shiny black leather. So I guess he's talking to the colorist here. Jacket and glove, Exxon glove right there. 3 wee bits on elbow should be Dayglow fluorescent yellow, which is best achieved by doing them. I can't see what that says. Acid or lemon yellow and making them glow. So his notes to the colorist, and he's Scottish quietly. So quietly. Actually, it's quietly. Yeah, quietly. Frank Quietly and Grant Morrison are such an amazing team. They are. I am not a Grant Morrison fan, but I've said it before. But the couple of things that I really liked from him have been this team up. The All-Star Superman's the best Superman book, period. End of story. Authority's great. Yeah, Authority's great. Those X-Men suits were begging for the Fox movies to use them. And yeah, seriously. Yeah, they dropped the ball. So that's all we get. We get 2 Quietlies. God, I can never say his name right. And then we move on to JR, John Romita Jr. I love John Romita Jr. The guy's done so much goddamn work in comics that there's enough to love and then stuff that I don't love. But overall, I love John Romita Jr. I met him when I was young. Very nice. He seems like the most pleasant person still if you watch his Instagram. It's very wholesome. And obviously a legend in his own right, just like his dad. But these are just some Spidey covers, Spidey 505, 508. He's got that boxy style, but the way he draws New York, the symmetricity, I don't know, of the buildings is beautiful. Just a lot of line work going on in these. I just can't imagine how long these covers take. Yeah, I didn't watch that. I watched the Red Sun Superman and I fell asleep. So kind of over that the DC animated stuff. I know it's good, but I could just put on Batman the Animated Series and be happy. All right, let's see what other Romita Jr. things we have here. Tried meeting JR to Comic-Con, but the line was ridiculous. That makes sense. I mean, he is a legend. But if you ever do get a chance to meet him, he is very nice. Posts a lot of his work process stuff on Instagram. Yeah, it really is. I watch some of it and I really enjoy watching it. I like watching process videos because it's not something I do. So to watch it kind of come to life, like I watch the McFarlane videos all the time. Like I've watched some of those sketch videos he does. I've watched 7 or 8 times. Yeah, his Punisher work was great. The Warzone stuff. His Punisher Batman book's fantastic. And he always, I feel like, Scott Hanna is inking him here, which I like, but Klaus Janson inking John Romita Jr. Chef's kiss. This is a great fucking cover. Oh my God, this is Spider-Man 600. And I just sold this the other day. But seeing the original black and white art of this, holy crap. Look at this. It's all just blacks and whites, and there's so much empty negative space in here, but it works so well. They should have just made this the cover, not even color, because there was like some green on here, I believe. This should have just been the cover. And there you go. There's Klaus Janson inking him. But the amount of time it would have taken to do all these windows is insane. I love this cover. So simple, so effective. We're gonna get into some of the Daredevil Romita stuff now, which I want to go back and read this because I remember kind of reading some of this when I was younger, but just like just like Sienkiewicz and some of the other artists we were talking about. Who were we just talking about? Jesus, uh, Mignola. I didn't love Romita Jr. as much as I do now because it was kind of weird style to me, but yeah, I do want to read some of this, reread some of this stuff, the Blackheart stuff, the Typhoid Mary, and maybe I won't enjoy it, but I still think I could appreciate the art. So that's Daredevil 255, and then Daredevil 281. I feel like this is a classic cover. A lot of green on this cover, and I believe this is Al Williamson doing the inks, which is another legend who inks Romita in a way that I really like. He doesn't try and clean Romita up, and I think that's why I don't like Hannah. So, I think that's why I don't like Scott Hanna doing the Romita Jr. And here's more Klaus Janson doing Romita. And here's some of the Punisher Warzone stuff, Derpa, that you were talking about. And his Punisher was great. The bridge of Punisher's nose always stuck out to me the way that Romita drew it. Really, really dug it. So this is Punisher Warzone number 3 and 4. He does like to, in the 90s, he really liked to draw crowded covers with the titular character, titular, I don't know, character being crowded and being ganged up on. Great work by Romita here in the 90s with Warzone and specifically with Klaus Janson. Yeah, his 5 o'clock shadow. I always had it. He always had it when Romita drew him. Yeah. I'm always afraid I'm going to rip these books up. Oh boy. I don't remember this cover, but damn. I'm not going to forget it now. So it's Dan Panosian inking John Romita Jr. This is Uncanny X-Men 304. And feels like he's trying to do, kind of like a little Jim Lee action here with the amount of characters on here. But there's every single X-Men on this book. Every single X-Men. And of course, just showing us who the popular character was at that time. Well, Punisher, I know plenty of people that don't like Punisher. I didn't like Punisher when I was a kid as much as when I started reading the Garth Ennis stuff, and that's when I really, really fell in love with the Punisher. Man, this is a great wraparound cover. Storm, Colossus, Cyclops, Bishop, everybody's on here, and everybody looks great. He draws angry faces real well. He does facial expressions better than most artists do. Like, it's kind of like the opposite of Rob Liefeld when it comes to facial expressions. This is cool. I'm going to have to pull this out of my X-Men box and take a look at it. So I don't remember this book at all. Is this a hologram cover or something? I don't know. Oh, well, here we go. Now we go to the senior. We go to Dad. Yes, Panosian did a lot of work with Lee for Wildstorm. He was one of those guys that was part of that. There's a great arc where he moves into an apartment complex and there's a bunch of interesting tenants that goes off for. Oh, that's what the first movie was based off of. The Thomas Jane movie, I should say, was that storyline. All right, so actually just sold a pair of these on Friday. This is the Spider-Man Annual number 21. So the newsstand cover is this one, I believe, and this is the direct cover. Yeah, so direct only and newsstand. One of the very few times that I can remember Marvel doing something like this. 1987. This is the wedding of Mary Jane and Peter. Obviously, there's Norman and Jay Jonah and all of the family members, and then the Spider-Man wedding one is basically like the Rogues Gallery versus the best heroes of the day. But classic John Romita right here. I don't know if it's Romita. I think it might have been Romita inking himself, but Shooter signed off on it on both, or he signed it. I don't know, but I'm assuming that's him signing off on it. But that's Johnny Sr. doing that, and just a fantastic image. Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I knew that there was two covers, right? But when I pulled them out to put them up for sale this week, I realized it was because of direct and newsstand. Oh wow. Rest in peace. I want to talk about somebody that was a giant that we're we're better off that we lived during his existence. So that's Tim Sale. This is Daredevil Yellow number 2. And Tim Sale, one of my all-time favorites, somebody that I really admire for his work and his uniqueness in the way that I don't know who his influences were. Like I can't look at his work and be like, he's influenced by this person. He's very much one of these people that I think about as just you know, one of a kind. And if you've never read any of, I talked about this last week or this week. If you've never read any of his color series, Daredevil Yellow, um, Hulk Gray, Spider-Man Blue, uh, Superman for All Seasons, which obviously is not a color. And they did a Captain America Red, White, and Blue, but I feel like that either never got finished or it got delayed, and I just forgot about it. But then you get to his Batman stuff that he did, and it's all with Jeff Loeb. All these books were written by Jeff Loeb and illustrated by Tim Sale, and his Batman stuff is not to keep making it about DC, but his Batman stuff is unparalleled. I know some people, like one of my friends, my really good friend, he doesn't like the long ear Batman. I'm like, yeah, but it's so iconic for Tim Sale. He makes him look like a creature of the night. And Long Halloween, and it's Long Halloween. Shit, what's the other one called? Oh God, I'm having a brain fart. I've got two full runs of it sitting right there. Dark something. Anyway, check out Tim Sale's Batman, Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale's Batman. But this is the cover for Daredevil Yellow number 2. Dark Victory. Dark Victory. Thank you. Yeah, there we go, Trevor. You got it. And I looked up and I saw that you got it too. Anyway, somebody that will be sorely missed in the illustration comic world. But he left a lot of great work behind for us to own and keep reading. Now I move on to Mark Silvestri, another one of my favorites. I just bought 2 pages of his artwork that I showed off a couple weeks ago. This is X-Men 249, and he comes, him and Jim Lee come in and revitalize and reinvent what the X-Men look like. Silvestri did just some of the most amazing work on X-Men. Always like this cover. It's funny because like who gives a shit about Havoc, but great cover. And then we jump into Walt Simonson doing Fantastic Four number 337. Walt Simonson had a long run on Thor. Obviously, co-created or created the character Betaman Raymond William, otherwise known as Beta Ray Bill, and he jumped over to Fantastic Four after I think Byrne was done. Byrne run was done. I can't believe Justin walked right past Silvestri and you. Let's just not talk about that. Mark Silvestri. I mean, not to glaze over Silvestri. There's just not more than one page here. But not only did Silvestri have an iconic run on X-Men, he jumped to Wolverine and basically did Wolverine through my like late, 11, 12, 13-year-old brain. And then he created Cyberforce for Image and founds Image. Like, yeah, I don't know. And now he's doing, if you aren't reading the Batman Joker Deadly Duo, Mark Silvestri is writing and illustrating that. It's fantastic so far. Little tidbit, Lee Tidbit. Lee Tidbit, he is the voice for the Sentinels. What is that? I don't know what you mean on that one. Like he did the voice for the Sentinels. Lee Tidbit did Jim Lee did the voice for the Sentinels on the animated cartoon. Is that what you're saying? Please let me know in the comments below. Fantastic Four 339, another Walt Simonson, just banger. He loves putting Thor in everything. Thor's this guy. Here's another Fantastic Four cover that he did, 343. And his run on Fantastic Four included the first appearance of Mobius, M. Mobius. Yes, I did watch the Image doc on Amazon. I mean, he's one of the more honest guys too. He does not seem to give a shit. So here we go, another Simonson Fantastic Four cover, 346. Little known thing. Well, some people know it, and some people realize it when it gets pointed out. But his signature, right there, is a dinosaur. He loves drawing dinosaurs. But yeah, there's the tail, then the body, and then the head, and that is Walt Simonson's signature. Speaking of, look at his Doom. His Doom. He's another one. Like, I don't think you get Mark Silvestri without Walt Simonson. And Simonson kind of does like the weird expressive faces, the small eyes, but everybody looks kind of different. He draws a hell of a dinosaur. He draws a lot of action too. The one thing about this book, I think they're really showcasing a lot of creators, a lot of artists that draw heavy action covers. This is a Mr. Fantastic cover that I really dig. And I think the black and white version is even more badass than the actual cover that they printed. And that's 352. I think this is a key. I think this is a time variant key or something like that. But you should seek out his Fantastic Four run. It's super cheap and it's a lot of fun to look at. There's just a lot going on in these covers. X Factor 13. I don't think the cover rings a bell, but that's another Walt Simonson, I believe, right? Yeah, there's a lot of. We get a couple more Walter Simonson, and then one of Spider's favorite illustrators that he likes to talk about that he schools me on every once in a while is coming up. Iconic cover right here. That's X Factor 24, the first full appearance of Archangel, and love his flying trail. His use of black on that cover is great, and his line work on here to show Sparks flying on. Speaking of Sentinels, Amber, Sparks flying on the Sentinels right there. Cyclops doing his thing. Man, Walt Simonson's another treat. If you want to watch a really good interview with him, watch the Cartoonist Kayfabe Shoot interview with Walt Simonson. It was like 3 or 4 months ago. It's a great interview. We're getting close to the end. A couple more X Factors covered because Walt and his wife Louise Simonson did X Factor for a while, and they're a great team. There are no Ron Lim in this because we would have seen it, but I would love to see some of his original artwork. He's iconic for me too. All the Silver Surfer stuff and the stuff surrounding Infinity Gauntlet. That he did because Perez couldn't do all of the workload, so they were kind of splitting it up. I didn't read any of his Green Lantern run. Didn't even know that. I swear to God, I don't think I was aware that Ron Lim did anything on Green Lantern. So here's X Factor number 25 and 26. Just fucking great covers by Walt. And and then the last page, we get X-Men Alpha Flight 2, the cover by Paul Smith. Paul Smith's not somebody I was really ever familiar with, even though I am, but not by name. And so this is a fun one. I have this two-parter. I actually need to read it because it all revolves around Loki. I always loved that when the Marvel did these like miniseries in the 80s and 90s. It was like 2 or 4-parter, like the X-Men versus Mephisto or whatever would turn out to be everybody versus Mephisto. They would always pick a fun villain to highlight and make him the good bad guy. But this is that cover by Paul Smith, and then our last page is just the signatures of everybody, uh, which is fun. I love looking at signatures. I collected autographs as a kid in all sorts, in all fields, and it's just fun to see this stuff. And then the back cover, the back 2-page is going to be the Walt Arthur Adams X-Men variant. So that was this book, and I'll give you guys a shot of the cover so you can go out and buy it if you like. Only 125 bucks I paid for it. I think it's worth a little bit more these days. I think it's like 175, 180 or something like that. But well worth it. I mean, I'm buying it obviously just for oh, that's cool. Artem's. I don't know, Dorp, were you in here when I showed this off? But I picked this up recently. Just happened to be in a collection, and it's a self-portrait of Art Adams by Art Adams from 1997. I'm actually probably going to post this on Instagram this week, just to kind of highlight this little fun thing. But that was that. So that's a fun one. I mean, I bought it, for the purposes of wanting to see it, but also go through it for the show. So it's, I guess not. I wouldn't consider this buying content because 200 on it. Wow, I got this for 125 at I Like Comics. If you, they're going to charge you for. If you're Steven, I don't know where you are in the country, but if you're near Vancouver, Washington, you can pick up the Sam Keith cover for the same price. But yeah, I don't call it buying content. Like I said, I'm glad that 12 of you are in here. I was in here for I started this show at 6:30, and for 40 minutes there was 2 people in here at most. So, but I'm still gonna keep doing it. But yeah, this was a lot of fun to go through. For some of you, oh, you're in South Carolina. That's not anywhere near this part of the country. It's by where my brother lives. Well, he lives in the north, but just a couple of things. I just I'll stay on for a little bit, but tomorrow so I didn't drop a new video this morning. Oh well, my pleasure. I enjoy doing this. This is fun for me. I didn't drop a new video this morning because I'm gonna switch it up. Keep SunDAVE sit down, obviously where it is now. I'm gonna do my Sunday video. I'm gonna do on Monday morning. So I'm gonna drop a new video tomorrow morning. It's about my week or 5 days I spent in. It's about the 5 days I spent in Florida a couple weeks ago and comic hunting there. And then I'm not having a sale this Wednesday, giving everybody a little break because it's the holidays and but I will be on Whatnot doing a Mark Jewelers show on Wednesday. So if you're into Mark Jewelers, come say hi. And that might be my last Whatnot show for a while. Next Sunday, I will do it on Christmas Day because it's Christmas Day Eve, and maybe you people need a break from your family shit, and I will provide. I think what I'm gonna do on next Sunday is like a year-end wrap. Go through some of the big things that I got this year and just talk. And then New Year's Day, I'm gonna do kind of like, I don't know. Somebody gave me an idea this week that I should talk about how I got into comics. So I think New Year's Day I'm gonna do like a little origin story and talk about it. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. I don't think I'll do a lot of like a flip through on a book like this or anything for the next couple weeks, and then we'll get back to guests hopefully in January. It's okay. No need to apologize, Amber. You could always watch it on the replay. Next time I'm in New Orleans, I'd be happy to eat an alligator po' boy. I will respectfully disagree, Trevor, but watch my video tomorrow and see what I have to say about Florida. We are a Zales insert family, sir. I don't even know what that means. I mean, I know what Zales is, but I don't know what that means. So yeah, I will talk about this without spoilers. I saw Avatar 2 today in I'm a audio video file, whatever you want to call me. Like I want to see movies thanks Ray. Thanks, Ray. Uh I want to see movies in the way that they're intended, in the theater that they're intended, in the format they're intended. 100%. Whenever I hear a director talk about that, um, I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. So I went to go see it today in the Pacific Science Center, which is in Seattle, where I used to live. It's like 6 blocks from my old apartment, which is under the Space Needle next to where the Kraken play. And it's a true IMAX. It's a 5-story screen with Dolby Atmos sound, Dolby Atmos picture, and it was 3D. And I know some people like can't handle 3D. Now, my thoughts going into this movie, uh, harken back 10 years ago to the first time I saw Avatar. And to me, that was the greatest movie experience of my life. Not the greatest movie, but the greatest movie experience, as in nothing ever felt that way before. You're watching this movie on a screen that's 5 stories high, and you're not in 3D. You're sitting and you're looking through a window of what's happening. This movie was that times 1,000. Like, I had my issues with the script because it wasn't a perfect script. Watching that movie, like my mind still hasn't wrapped itself around that. It was beautiful. It was insane. The action was fantastic. Like everything about that movie was just exactly what James Cameron wanted for us. Oh, awesome. Well, maybe we'll have to meet up. Seattle's a great place. I will be happy to give you recommendations, parameters. You tell me like what you want to see or do. But if you can catch a movie at the IMAX at the Science Center, it's a great place. If you have kids, the Science Center is great. So that's a bonus too. Plus, like I said, it's under the Space Needle. Um, but I don't know if some of you have seen it already. Some of the sequences towards the end of that movie were just incredible. The introduction of the movie's called Avatar 2: The Way of Water. So obviously, we're exploring the waters of Pandora, and the introduction to that part of the universe was incredible. So if you have a chance, if you live in an area of this country where there is a true IMAX, and when I say true IMAX, it's one of those ones that are, the screen is the size it's supposed to be, whereas like the fake ones at Regal, which are just like 10 feet bigger. Or if you're able to see it in like the large screen format with the Dolby Atmos, see it. Like spend the $20 or whatever it is. I think our tickets were $20 and go see it, because it's a movie going experience unlike anything else. Like if they were to put that kind of effort and money uh into Marvel movies, like the experience would be completely different. So you did see Endgame there. Yeah, the IMAX. Oh yeah, that's right. Trip, you know that screen. I saw every Star Wars movie there. I saw all 3 of the new ones. And it's funny because when I saw Force Awakens there, um it was opening show, and fucking Michael, what's his name? Uh Seahawk, Michael, him and his brother, Black Santa Claus, Black Spider-Man. What the hell is his Michael? Ah, name's on the tip of my tongue. He was there. He was there. And then there was this giant Seahawks chant in the fucking theater. Anyway, uh so yeah, that was mind blowing. I know it's not comic book related, but Avatar's going to be on it'll be part of the zeitgeist for the next while. So I feel like it was a good idea to just gush about that. Other than that, uh, Bennett, yes, Michael Bennett. Thank you, Martellus and Michael Bennett. You remember that when he was Black Santa Claus and then Black Spider Man? Anyway, uh, so yeah, that was fantastic. I know I want to say big thank you also to everybody that bought books for me this week or just joined in the show on Thursday or Friday. It was a great week. Probably had my best week so far, and I really had a lot of fun. I'm gonna try and put together an awesome trivia claim sale night for the last week in between Christmas and New Year's, and that was that's my plan. And then going into the new year, I'll have everything from this collection from Jim organized. You'll be able to ask me for specific books, and I'll probably have them for sale, and so that's really exciting. Uh, Other than that, I think that's going to close it out. If anybody has any questions or anything, this is the time. This is the place. Uh, Definitely want to bill the last show of the year or the first show of the year, I guess, as a like origin story and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I've been so distracted. What's behind you? Oh, there you go, Trevor. I put that up because I picked this up today from one of my local stores. But this is a steelbook of the animated collection of the Spawn animated series, and I never owned this on DVD, and I'm excited because there's a bunch of bonus material in here that I've never seen before. So that was a purchase today for $15, I believe. Steven, that's a good question. I did not get to go back to that warehouse. That guy seems to have the same MO with everybody, that like he promises one thing and then delivers another. And I lost my fucking, I lost my car keys in that warehouse. And yeah, I never, he told me he would look for it. The guy could barely walk, he could barely breathe. He was very unhealthy. I mean, maybe I'll email him again, but I wouldn't go back there unless he let me look in there the whole time without disturbing me and without asking me to move stuff for him for my keys, and he let me buy some stuff without being like, oh well, I could sell this on eBay. It's just like, dude, you can't walk. How are you going to do this? Anyway, it's not a sore subject, but I do get very passionate. This is some other stuff. I actually, you know what? I forgot to show this stuff off. Well, I got my Barnes and Noble copy. I sold the rest. That's the Spawn Batman. But this was some stuff that I picked up in Portland. If you're ever in Portland, once again, go to Powell's Books. But I picked up a copy of The Art of Jamie Hewlett by Taschen, and this is the works from the last 25 years. And Jamie Hewlett, creator of Tank Girl, co-creator of Gorillaz, and an artist I love. I picked up this cool Richard Corbin, Tales from the Plague. This I'll probably put under, I'll probably do a Richard Corbin episode and talk about some of the stuff, because I also got this Richard Corbin book, which is called Blood Star. It's signed. It does have some smoke damage from, I guess, a fire, but it didn't singe the books. It just blackened the edge of the pages, and who cares, right? Doesn't smell. All the pages are intact, and sign right there, numbered. What? Oh, you got your McFarlane books from the signing. I was like, I didn't know what you were talking about. Congratulations. What books did you get? Amber, what books did you get signed and slabbed? And then finally, this is something I'm going to go through. An old Fantagraphics sold out sketchbook of Bill Sienkiewicz. Bill Sienkiewicz. So this will be a fun thing to go through at some point. But yeah, I spent a little bit of money in Portland, but that was okay. That was my vacation. And, what else am I going to spend my money on? Bills. So, yeah. So Amber, once you let us know, we can know, and then I'll send us off into the ether for everybody to have a good week and a Merry Christmas and all that stuff. By the way, Happy Hanukkah, first night of Hanukkah, to all my friends that are watching, that are celebrating, which I don't know if there are any of you that are Jewish, but Happy Hanukkah. Oh yeah, this stuff is going to be fun. I'm excited. Like, I haven't even opened the Jamie Hewlett book, but yeah, this is going to be fun. This is like, and it's funny, Trevor. This is the stuff. This is the stuff I buy. Like I buy collections, right? And I get what I get out of those collections. But the weird one-off stuff or the books based on comic art, this stuff I could really sink my teeth into, is what I really like to spend my money on for my PC. Thank you. And by the way, the new saying, thanks to was it you? No, it was Miguel Ochoa who said "Happy Holidays," and that's what we're going with this year. Happy Holidays. So, all right. Well, I think that's going to be it. For those of you that celebrate Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah. For those of you that celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. And for those of you that don't care about the holidays, have a great week off. Have some good times off of work. Because that's what holidays are for. Spawn 992 Spawn kills 2. Nice, nice, sweet. Well, everybody, enjoy your week. Like I said, Wednesday I'll be on Whatnot doing a Mark Jewelers show. Support the channel, smash the like, watch the video that drops tomorrow. It's about 22 minutes long, and it's all about me hating the state of Florida and finding some comics. But everybody have a great night, and happy holidays to you and yours. And don't forget to send me some cookies so I can gain more weight. All right, everybody. This is Dave. Happy holidays.
West Coast Avenger.